Hello, everyone. Welcome to our doctoral webinar presentation for today. My name is Kevin Thrasher. I'm going to jump over into some of our resources here that we're going to use today, so I can show you one of our items. Sorry about that. I'm having to navigate. I'm going to unfortunately need to leave my PowerPoint open while I present. I know that's not good because y'all see all of this stuff on the side, and that's really irrelevant to me for you to see what's upcoming, because it's too small to see anyway. But if I get into full presentation mode, I won't be able to see people as they're trying to be admitted to the room. So I apologize of the layout. See someone right there trying to get in, and I wouldn't have seen them because of the layout being a little different than normal. Okay, very good. Thank you all for coming out. Like I said before we started recording, I know that your lives are busy, and I know that for some folks, they have to juggle children and full-time work and etc. And I know as we do our doctoral work, again, I hear someone with their mic and some background noise. So please wiggle your cursor, find out where your mic button is and turn it off. It's too hard for me to go and do that once I get into presentation here. But anyway, one thing that you have to do throughout your doctoral work here is just kind of juggle a bunch of stuff. And so I appreciate y'all showing up and this being one of the things that you're juggling are these webinars. We really do hope that these are valuable to you. These occur each month. I don't know if you attend the others. If you haven't, we have a website on YouTube that has a collection, library of the previous ones from the past. And then if you signed up for this one, there is an automatic link that's included in email notifications that lets you know. I hear Mike again. Thank you. That lets you know of upcoming topics, and you may or may not think some of these topics are relevant, but you will eventually find somewhere where they will be. Sorry, I'm trying to admit people as I'm talking here, and you see how that can be distracting if I'm in presentation mode. Okay, so one of the things that you have to get under your belt are all the great things that are actually available to you in your electronic world. You know, we use our phones and we use our computers and we use laptops and iPads and etc. to interact with our world. Now, most of that is a social interaction. It's all social media. We're going in looking at people's pictures of their lunch from that day and their coffee they bought that morning and their family and children and their accomplishments of graduation and so forth, right? It's just all social stuff. But a lot of these tools that we should and could be using more of, besides the social media pieces of our technology, our devices, can help us run our world, can help us navigate our world, organize the chaos of our world. We were just saying at the beginning of this, y'all are juggling many things as a student. You're a parent, you're also a husband or a wife, you're some of your daughters or sons and etc. You have all these other obligations. So instead of trying to juggle and remember everything, let's let technology help us navigate that world. Okay, so the main focus that we'll be looking at today will be how to use our email for the most part. And can y'all guess which email is the most dominant? You don't have to turn your mic on. This is just a self-reflection. But what is the most popular, most dominant, most used email? Well, let's look at that. At least for Earthlings. I don't know what they use on other planets, but at least for the Earthlings, Gmail, which was launched, about almost 20 years ago, is the most dominant. This is millions, so 1,500 million, so that's 1.5 billion. You can look at it over here too. So half of all users on the planet use Gmail. Another third down here, this orange one, is using iCloud Mail, which is Apple service. And then another 10 or so % here are using Outlook, which is Microsoft. And then you got the rest of the stuff. Interestingly, AOL, which was the original, look at them way down here in 1993, and they barely have 1.5 million users. But anyway, the top three are Outlook, and it's really not much. The big two are just these two top ones are 80% of the planet are using these two email systems. So with that in mind, I can't go through and show you all the emails systems and depending on which one you'll use. So I decided to go with the most dominant one, the one where half of our planet is using this specific email provider, which is Gmail. Okay. By the way, I think, yeah, Outlook used to be called Hotmail here, I noticed. And then, of course, iCloud went through various names throughout their history as well. So here's just a different way to represent that. That's kind of a histogram right there. And you can see the magnitude compared to all these other ones. Gmail just soars above everyone. Okay, so what are our objectives today in terms of how we're going to navigate some of these Gmail tools in order to juggle the balls that you have to juggle a little better, a little easier, a little more efficiently. And for some of y'all who use Gmail, you may be familiar with these. And if you're not using Gmail, I don't want you to get discouraged right now. I don't want you to say, oh, well, this presentation's useless. It's not, because in whatever other system you use, they're going to have things like this. They just may call it something different. But once you see the functionality of what it's going to do, you'll recognize or notice or have some other way of doing it in your own email. But because, again, half the planet, or whatever it is, 8 billion people are using Gmail, you know, if they're of age to use Gmail, and if they have Gmail, then, or have email, then it's Gmail most likely. Okay, so we're going to review what are called stars and other symbols. The snooze button, this is actually one of my favorites. Task, this is a great way to move stuff to a to-do list that you know is urgent and important out of all the rest of the stuff that's clouded and filled all into your inbox. You can create an event where you take something happening in an email and you move it to, and it just automatically can be added to your calendar with all that information from the email. So that's one trick in these tools, is it interconnects these other systems back to your original email, so you have a reference to what that email was saying. It's not just a generic title. Within that body of the email, there will be your email. I mean, within the body of that event in your calendar, there'll be the email message. And then how to filter messages. This is also another great one for both faculty if they're doing something related to a specific course, but also students. You can filter messages based on a professor, or filter messages based on a course you're taking, or filter messages based on the topic. Maybe you're doing your IRB and you want certain things to, as you're getting emails related to your IRB, to be filtered and act, you know, a certain action done to them, and I'll show you what those are. So anyway, these are the tools that we'll go through, and I'll discuss the relevance of those tools as well. Smaller people. So let's think for a second. Whenever you take a journey in your doctoral experience, a program that you're going through, think of your program in really three main pieces of your journey. The first piece of your journey is you're a new student in the doctoral program, and you're just trying to figure out what the expectations are, what's the level of rigor, what you know, what are they gonna let me get away with and where are they not, right? Where are the boundaries of how I need to navigate and negotiate this doctoral program? So in the beginning, you're just sometimes trying to figure things out. You're trying to, where's the library and the resources and how do I upload an assignment, right? So during that part of the journey, you need to focus on those things. You don't need to be focusing on your dissertation. Now, if you're in the DNP program, they do have your project move earlier in the sequence, so you might have some exposure to that. But for most of the programs and doctoral programs, a dissertation comes at the end. So you're not worrying about that in the beginning. You're just getting oriented and situated and trying to become a doctoral student, trying to figure out the mindset that you have to have. Then during the middle of your journey, it's just really a marathon. You've already figured out how to upload things. You've already figured out where your resources are. You've already figured out how to find the library, right? You know that stuff. Now you're just trying to have stamina, because you got to get through a big old chunk of your curriculum now before you ever get to your dissertation or your project work in the ODMP. So you sit there and just pound away on courses semester after semester, years, sometimes for a while. And then finally you reach the last part of your journey, which is the dissertation or the doctoral DMP project sequence courses, where now you're focusing all your energy and all these courses back to back at the very end on completing your doctoral study, your final manuscript that will allow you to become a doctor, to earn your doctorate. All right. But all through this journey, all through this path that you have to take to complete your doctoral program, like anything else, what do we do to prepare for that journey? How do we take a journey? I mean, we don't very often use star constellations any longer. I mean, many of us aren't trying to find the Big Dipper to figure out if we're going to go, you know, drive around in the night where we're going. We probably don't use compass very often either, unless we're out hiking and doing that stuff. Do we use scrolls of maps, you know, written on papyrus and stuff? No, not usually. Do we ask other travelers sometimes during our journey? Yeah, I've done that. I've been at a place and said, hey, where's this monument, or how do I get to so-and-so street? So that's an effective strategy. There's nothing wrong with asking other travelers, other students, other, administrators and staff at the university, like your faculty or your chair or mentor or your academic advisor. That's asking the other travelers along your journey, right? What do I need to do to be successful? Do we follow the river? I had to do that one time. I got lost in the woods when I was hunting. But normally we don't do that. Normally we don't sit there and say, just follow the river. That'll take you to Cincinnati, you know, from Phoenix or whatever. So that's not a good strategy. Unfortunately, teleportation still has not been invented. I would like that. But what we most likely use nowadays is a GPS type of navigation. We're going to go to MapQuest or Google Maps or something like that and enter an address for our journey, right? And then let the car pull up a screen and a dash and drive us there on a map, right? So we're using electronic tools. And again, that's the focus of the day, is to see your journey through the doctoral highway as a journey that can be navigated with electronic assistance. Okay, here's some of the tools we're going to look at in Gmail. And again, they may look or be called a little something different in your email. But for those of you, if your mic's on, please push mute, wiggle your cursor so you can find your mic button and turn it off, whoever is making noise, sorry. So anyway, these are the ones we're going to focus on today that will help you be able to manage. I don't know what y'all's inboxes are like, but I get a lot of stuff in my inbox. I'm going to show you here in a minute. A lot of the stuff can be junk. A lot of stuff cannot be junk, but it's not urgent. I don't need to look at it now, but I want to look at it eventually, but I don't want it to be in my inbox cluttering it. So I'm going to now filter that. That'll be one of our tools. Filter that over into a folder. Then I just go check that folder when I want to. I don't have to have it all cluttered in my inbox, and now I'm losing stuff, and stuff is scrolling off my page because I have so many read messages that I forget which ones I read, right? I don't know if y'all have that scenario, but that scenario happens to me. And so I have to, you know, again, get out the navigation tools and help me manage that. So the first thing we'll look at are the stars. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go through each of these tools that we'll discuss, and then I want to jump over into my live email, and then I'm going to show you all those tools. But it's better for me to give you a foundation and a background first, so you can kind of see how the tools work, and then once I start playing with them, it'll make more sense. But what the stars do, and the main function that I use stars for, is it allows you to symbolize the email, to mean something to you. See, if this is my email system right here, there's just a bunch of stuff in here. Well, I can go into, you'll go into see all, you'll hit this gear shift and then see all settings, and it'll take you to a part in there that says stars. I'll show you here in a live setting how you can do that. And I've picked these stars. You can pick any of these stars, any of these symbols. There's other things here besides stars, so that whenever I go up here now and click this star, then that preset icon that I selected will now pop in there and will now categorize that email for me to let me know all the blue stars mean something, all the green ones mean something else, and I can go through and manage that in my email system and know which ones to tackle now and which ones to tackle later. This is just an example. This is kind of how I use it. These are my systems. Here I use a yellow and blue star, a green check, a red exclamation, it's an I like information's blue, and then a purple question mark. For me, the yellow ones, I'll click that yellow if it's important. I'll click it blue if it's data, because I get a lot of data. So there's times I just want to go through and look for data for something. Someone's asking me a question. Well, I go through and look for the blue stars. I don't have to dig through emails and stuff, right? The green check that I use is for stuff related to the committees. I serve on a bunch of committees. Y'all serve on committees. Y'all have things that are important. Y'all have things associated with your data of your study. Again, you could click these symbols here so that now as you're going through and you have all this stuff related to a lit review and your methodology and your results and your statistics and your data, and I'm on this committee and all this, your committee is communicating with you. You're getting all that into your email. And if you're not categorizing that, then it's just a big jumble of stuff, right? And you got to remember to unread things so it pops back up, or once you read it, it just gets scrolled off your screen and it gets forgotten, and then you lose it into something, until you got to find it, and then it's scrambling to find it. The red ones are exclamations. So I'm like, I got to get this done fast. I got to get this done today or something like that. I also work with the IRB, the Institution Review Board. Many of you are going to have to eventually submit an IRB application, which means you have permission to go and start your study. We've checked and make sure there's no risk to human subjects. It's an application you fill out. Well, when those come in, I just use the blue eye and I just click those, click, 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 click. And now I know anything that has that blue eye next to it is all my IRB stuff. And when I now have to go do some IRB work, I just go in and sort by all the blue eyes and I have them together. And I can just tackle them. It's much more efficient than trying to scroll through and find stuff in an inbox that's 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 messages in it. And then the purple question is a follow-up. Okay, I need to go back and talk to this person, or send them another email, or set up another meeting because we still have some stuff we need to finish. So that's the star system. Again, you access it by clicking the gear and going to see all settings and scrolling down and what it says in all settings to the point where you can select the ones you want. Again, I'll show you that here in a second. The next one, which is really, like I said, my favorite, I use it all the time. I'll show you all the stuff I've snoozed, and it really is a lifesaver in terms of not forgetting stuff. And so it allows you to take a message. Let's say your chair comes through and says, hey, I need you to send me your data from your study. And they're telling you to send it to them by a date that's something like 3 weeks in the future. And you're sitting there thinking, dang, that's like 3 weeks from now. But I have it in my inbox. I don't want to leave it in my inbox and let it sit here and clutter my inbox. And I don't want to read it and then forget to unread it. Now I got to go back and it's lost somewhere. And then I forget to send it to them by that date. So what you can do is you can go up once you open that email and you can click this little image here that looks like a clock, and it's going to snooze it, right? And you can snooze it to a date so that if he's telling you to send something to him in 3 weeks, you can go through in 2.5 weeks or whatever you want to set that alarm to snooze and pop back up in 2.5 weeks. So you still have a half a week to get it done, but you don't need to think about it now. And you don't want to try to remember it in 3 weeks from now. So you use this snooze feature so that you don't forget it. And again, I'll show you that. You can pick how you want that thing to snooze. You can say later today, okay, I don't want to deal with that now, but I do need to get it done. I have to take care of these other things first, but I'll snooze it to later today. Tomorrow, okay, it's important, but I'm just really swamped today. I got a lot of meetings. I got other stuff going on, but I'm going to snooze it so that tomorrow it'll pop right back up in my inbox as a new message. It doesn't just disappear. It sort of resurfaces because I've snoozed it. You can do it for the weekend, or next week is always on a Monday. You can also go through here and pick a specific time and date. Okay, I want to pop up on next Thursday at 9 a.m. because I have, my morning off, and I'm going to use that time for this email to pop up and remind me now to spend that time doing that. Or this one's nice. If you know that I'm always, there's 3 or 4 things that you need to get done in a specific time frame, it will say what was the last date you picked, and you can sometimes just click that and it'll go right back. If you have 2 or 3 things on that same date, you don't have to keep setting it. So anyway, that is a super great tool for not losing things in your inbox and being reminded of them closer to the time that you want. Many of y'all are probably familiar with this one. It's called Tasks. It looks like a little check off image. If I'm in an email, this is an example of an email from a nursing education accreditation organization that sends stuff out to people on their listserv. And I go up here and click this, and what this will do, this icon here, it looks like task, a check, is it will add it to this. It'll open up this little side window, and it will add it in here with the rest of my tasks that I've been adding over time. And so here's this, as soon as I click that, boom, it adds that right in here. Look, last call, submit a nomination for leadership role. Last call, submit a nomination for leadership role. That's the exact same thing. If I click this little image right here, it'll take me to this email. So again, I don't have to go find out, well, yeah, I got a reminder here to go do this, but what's that talking about? Where's that email? I don't have to worry about it. It's all integrated right here. If I just go and click this, I can go now look up this email and I can go take care of that task. Once I'm done with that task, I click over here and it gets added down here to the completed. So I can always go back into my history and look, what were the several things I had to do? Now this comes in handy for me at the end of the year when I have to do an annual review with my supervisor. And I have to then go through and say, these are the things I've completed this past year, 113 things of whatever it was when I took this screenshot that had been completed. Now, some things are small, no big deal. But the point is it becomes an item that you have to give attention to because it's on your task, your to-do list. You can also go through and give it a different title. You can add some details and you can pick a specific day and time for the task to pop up in your, or a specific day and time when it needs to be completed, I'm sorry. And it will then pop up and remind you. So task is another very effective way to use this to complete things, all right? For example, if you have to mark off things associated with your doctoral milestones, there are things y'all have to do as you're moving through your doctoral journey. You need to know your milestones. You need to go to your doctoral lounge. If you don't know what that is, ask your mentor or your any faculty. If you're not at the dissertation course, if you're in those courses, ask your chair or your mentor. You can also ask your dean. You find those people's names by going to the Aspen website and then going to your school. But find your doctoral milestone. That's going to say these are the 6 things. These are the 6 major hurdles that you have to pass in order to progress through this program. If you don't complete these things, it's a hard stop. You're put on pause. You know, you don't want to stop your progression. So some of the things are you have to select a committee member. You have to, pass your proposal defense in the first couple of courses or so. You then have to also submit an IRB application, again, IRB approval. And you have to also have certain study timelines. For some of y'all, like in the DMP, your project, your quality improvement project has a specific thing that you submit. It's a calendar, and it says in this week, week 3, week 6, week 4, whatever, we're doing these things throughout the project, right? So again, you could add those over here. So these things are telling you now, you have to put a little effort, but it's not that much effort. You just click a button, unless you want to add some details, but it takes seconds. To now for that to be popping up and telling you, hey, it's time for your milestone to be completed. It's and you also have publication for those of y'all who want to publish. You can put publication timelines. This journal is expecting me to have my first draft within the the limits of their format by August 13th. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna click this email that's saying that, and I'm gonna say, remind me on August 13th. Or pop it up, where it comes in my calendar. I'll show you that as well too. That's another effective one, is where you can create an event. So that's tasks. It's useful. You have to figure out which ones maybe are best for you. Obviously, I'm showing you a variety of things. This is another one. I have to say I don't use this very often, only because I use some of the others. But if you're visual and you work by your calendar, which I do, I open use my calendar, and again, this does help something to pop up in your face. If you're using your calendar every day to say, hey, here's something to take care of. But this allows you to create an event in your calendar related to this specific email. So again, here's that same one we've been looking at, that example email. And you go up here and hit these 3 dots. I guess it's an ellipsis, but it's vertical. And you do create event. Create an event is what you do. When you check that, click that, it's going to give you this option. There's that is again. Look, the whole title of that email is already dropped in there. I don't have to add that. This stuff is automatically populated. The whole email is down here now. I don't have to copy and paste that in there. That is included in the event. You can also go up here and color code things. And if it's an important deadline or something, I'll make it red. And I know some people can't see color, so whatever you want to use is your system. But now there that is. If you could see that better, it would say last call, submit your proposal right up here. All this same stuff that it's saying here, it says right here, for this day and time that I picked, this is now going to be an event in my calendar to say, go and take care of this email. This is due. You have to submit something by this day if you want to do it. It's an easy way to add stuff to your calendar. So again, you don't get lost. Okay. One of the last things that we'll use before we now go jump into an actual email and I go play with this stuff and you can see how it works in a live environment is filter messages like these, it's called. And again, it's in the little vertical ellipsis icon. And instead of choosing what I just showed you, which was create event, you're just going to go down and now instead of that, choose filter messages like these. When you click that, it's going to pop open a little menu here that allows you to add some information related to that filter that you want. What do you want to call the filter? Where do you want to go? What do you want to happen? And I'll show you again what some of those choices are. So you can personalize it how you want. But again, it allows you to filter your email related to similar content. And I've actually created a filter for this, and I'll show you what happens. And the filter that I created is anytime that it says the letters NLN, this is coming from the NLN, the National League of Nursing, I think it is. And anytime it comes from that organization or has that acronym in it, then it's going to filter all of those emails for me into a special folder. And it will also start, if that's, put a star on it, if that's what I want it to do. So that those things are highlighted, or at least I can now not worry about those and I can go sort for those later and only attend to those when I need to, right? So this is useful, for example, if you, again, want to filter something based on a faculty member. So instead of words here, you can say it's from someone. I'm always going to put my chair's name here, their email, and etc. So if it's from that person, then all of my chair communication will go into a special folder and not always in my inbox cluttering it. And now I can just go through on the side, click that folder, and it's all the chair communication. And Saturdays I do all my chair communication, right? Or whatever your calendar schedule is. And again, it's not let me open my email at the end of the week on the weekend when I'm trying to get caught up and have to deal with 40 different emails in a chaotic way. You know, this helps again sort things and filter things into buckets so that you have the opportunity to more effectively manage it. So back here, once I go and I've just picked the words NLN and choose create filter, it'll then go to this screen. And again, you have a variety of things to do. I don't make mine too complex, but you can say star it or whatever, always mark it as red, or skip my inbox and just go straight to archive. I don't want to see it, but I want to keep it in case I need to go back in the future and get it. I do apply the label. You get to choose a label. My label again is NLN, and I'm going to press create filter, and it will then create a filter. And you can tell now I have this new folder. I'll show you where this is. This is my list of folders in my email. I have a new folder called NLN that was created. And I have one over there now, which is that email that had just come in. If I click this, then that email will be that one unread email in there. Now I don't have to go find that stuff, right? So this is a really good way, again, to sort of cut down on clutter associated with inboxes. And again, as you're going through your doctoral program, you're getting communication from your faculty and the various courses. You're getting communication from your academic advisor and the university staff and personnel about things that are occurring and how to register or bills to pay or how to, you know, find resources, but because you're trying to log in and figure something out. A lot of that communication can be overwhelming if it's lots of people on a regular basis. So again, these are just some quick tools for you to manage. I used to have a previous role to the one I had now, and I easily got 100 emails a day. Sometimes I'd open it to be 120 or 30. And I always felt if I could get it down to 30 unread before I went home, then I had accomplished something. But all during the day, I had to use these strategies and start negotiating my time and figuring out what can I snooze? What do I need to move to a counter? What can I postpone? What do I need to highlight and take care of today? And these were the tools that I used. So let's jump over there for a second. and I'll show you my inbox. I've purposefully left clutter in here. But what you'll see this NLN? There's that folder I just created. And what it does is anytime something from NLN comes in, it will star it. It will dump it over here into this folder. And I've got several of those that have been coming in since I created this filter. See, 3 or 4 or 5 of them here. This is all junk mail. I also created one for what I call Magna. So I get these Magna publications that come in on a regular basis for higher ed faculty and so forth. So I want to filter those things. So I created a filter for that. Royal Caribbean, it's a cruise line, but they send me junk mail, and I just wanted to create one so I can demo for y'all how this works and how you can create these different categories. It will star them and dump them into a folder for you. So let me go over here and show you my folders. These are my folders. If I scroll down, what you're going to see in my folders is those exact same new filters. I didn't have to go over and do anything, but there's the NLN ones. There's the Magna ones. I do have a Rover one, I think, here too. That's a dog setting one. So I just filtered that one too. I don't want it all cluttered in my inbox. Royal Caribbean, okay, I want to go look at those later, right? I don't want to look at them now. But let's say I go up here to the NLN ones. Let's say maybe this one is not an NLN one. This one says faculty mentor. And their name is there. And I just sit there and say, oh, I've gotten 4 things from that person today. And I'll take care of it tomorrow. Okay, and tomorrow I'll log in and say it's already filtered them into this folder for me. I click it. There they are. There's the 4 things that is in my inbox. Now, let's say I go through, I read this one, I read this one, I read this one. So those are red now.
Nope.
Somebody's mic's on. And then let's say I go now, there were 4, right? So there's still 1 unread. If I go back over here, now the NLN is only showing 1, which means it's still 1 I have to take care of, but I took care of 3 of the 4. If I also go back here to my inbox, then those should be gone out of my inbox as unread emails. Those 3, see, they're not there anymore. I got other things down here, but those other ones are not there. There's the only one I didn't read right now, the NLN. Okay, so this is junk mail. Let's play, but you can tell how the filter is working here. It's dumping stuff and it stars it so I can see it into certain things. If I click that, it's going to take me into that email, which I don't want to really look at right now, but I can also go down to the folder. All right, let me get back to my inbox. All right, here's one for something related to Omaha Steaks. So let's figure out some things we want to do with this Omaha Steaks. Let's say the Omaha Steaks is actually communication from the IRB. All right, so what I want to do here is say, well, I need to take care of this, but I have to go get some forms signed first, and I had to complete and get some other things done before I can complete my IRB application. So I'm going to snooze this until next week. That should give me enough time until next week. All right, so that one disappeared. If I go over here now to where my snoozed items are, you'll see a lot of my snoozed items. There's Omaha Steaks, and it's snoozed until tomorrow, July. I'm sorry, I must have snoozed it next week. I'm sorry, I snoozed it till next Monday. So July 27th, that's snoozed. On July 24th. On July 24th, next Monday, this email is going to pop back up. Now, again, if that's an IRB application, then on next Monday, this email related to an IRB application is going to pop up in my email and say, hey, it's time to do this. I don't have to try to go backwards and start looking at the stuff from last week that I should have been doing and where in my email did I not do it. That's how the snooze works. All right. So now let's do something different. Let's go into, I don't know what this is. This is some kind of, you see how much junk mail I get. It looks like it's a food thing again. All right. So what we're going to do with this one is let's add it to my tasks. Let's say, well, one of the things I need to do is go grocery shopping this week. And I'm going to go to this place and buy these strawberries. So there it is, extra, extra. Read the Jam Amazing News, right? Let's say what I wanted, and then there's email. If I click this, it'll take me right in this email. I don't have to do anything else over here. I can pick a day and time that I want this to remind me and repeat and do a number of things. I can just pick a specific time of the day if you want. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't really want to set those things to be in my calendar. But it's right here. If I complete this, let's say I finally went grocery shopping. All right, I go up here and click mark completed. It disappears. Down here, there was 113, I think. It should now show 114. Yep, right there, 114. So that one that I just completed has now been added to my completed. If I go in here and look at some of these things, you can tell it's marked off, and these are the things that I had worked on out of that 114 if I want to scroll through them to show someone my accomplishments. All right, so that right there is adding stuff to your task. Let's go back into our inbox. Let's find a different email. We already did Omaha Steaks and that one. Here's Vegas. Okay, let's do something with Vegas. So with Vegas, what we want to do with Vegas is let's filter messages like these. Okay, let's say I'm going to get married in October and we're going to Vegas, but I can't think about that now. You know, it's July. So, but I'm going to postpone this stuff. But I want it to all be filtered. I'm getting so many things from all the vendors and et cetera, right? But I can't keep up with all this. So I said, let me exit out of this thing. Sorry. Let me get back here. So once I open this, I'm going to go up and hit the ellipsis, right? The vertical one. And then I'm going to do a, must have gotten out of that. Sorry. Let me mark as unread and start over. The Vegas one. Filter messages like these. Let's do that one first, right? So anything that's coming in from Vegas related to my wedding, I can pick a person here or who it's to. I can do a general subject, but I want anything that has the words Vegas and ones that don't have certain words, sizes of things, stuff with attachments. So you have some choices here. But I'm just going to say anything with the words Vegas, let's create a filter. Create filter. What do I want it to do? I want to apply a label to that. So when it comes in, it tells me. You can choose different labels. I'm going to do a new label, and I'm going to call it Vegas. Actually, I might call it wedding. Let's see what that does. So it's all my wedding folder. It'll label it that and then say create. All right, there it is. I could have done other things. Every time it comes in with Vegas, forward it to my personal email or forward it to my wife to be, or never create certain things as spam. So go play with some of these in advance, but this is one general way to do that. So I think I might have already done create a filter. All right, good. Now, if I go over here back into my folders, I might not have anything for Vegas yet because it will only filter new ones. I don't think it'll take existing ones. Let's go down here. And I have wedding. So I do have a wedding folder. And now in the future, anytime a new email from Vegas that has the words Vegas in it, anything that says Vegas will go right into my wedding folder. And it'll be like I just showed you all those other folders, the NLN and the Magna and et cetera, where now that stuff is just automatically filtered over in there. Okay, so there's a demo of that specific feature called filter things like these. Now, again, I don't want you to get hung up and say, well, I'm not going to get married, so that's not useful. You know, don't be so restricted in my example. What are other ways, again, that you could filter things? It's coming from a certain person in my committee or a person in my academic advisor, or it's related to this, you know, my methodology. So anytime it has the word statistics in it, I want to go into here. So now, because I'm right now crunching all of the data in my study, right? Or anytime it says lit review, put it over here in this folder for me. And as things are all coming in, it organizes it for you. Okay, which is one we haven't done yet? Let's do highlights for children. This is a good magazine, by the way, if you haven't ever seen it. So what we want to do with this one is, let's say this says, oh man, this is going to expire. Great savings right here, 20% off, but you got to do it by July 20th. It's not far from today. So what I want to do with this one, the last feature I haven't showed you yet, is create an event. So the event I want to create, what is the date? The 19th, right? So this thing is due tomorrow. But let's say I want this event to occur tomorrow. Well, this email is today and the event is going to expire tomorrow, and I can color code it. Let's make it red. And then I can also go back and somehow I don't want these people to be included. So make sure whoever the guests are, I wasn't inviting, hush, I wasn't inviting them. But anyway, once I do this and save it, there it is. So here's my calendar. You can see I got some things to do every day. And here's what we're doing now, which is a doctoral webinar. But that email I just showed you is now just discovering reading. If I click that, it's going to go right back to that email and help me find it easier. And it's popping up in my calendar to say, okay, Kevin, right here, this is the due date. And they said it July 20th. And so you have to take care of this email by this date. So that's the features related to some of the, sorry, I have a little dog that barks when she gets antsy. So anyway, those are the tools. Those are the different features that you have available to you to navigate your journey. Those are your GPS screens to help you figure out, do I turn here? Do I go faster? Do I slow down? Do I pick up this person? Do I let this person off at this stop? Right? It's helping you go through that journey and manage all the stuff that you need to do. So my first recommendation is just start using the tools. I know I showed you Gmail. If you have Gmail, it's going to be easier and more familiar for you. If you don't have Gmail and you use Outlook or Apple type products, iCloud email, and any of the others, then there's going to be similar tools. Just start using some of those tools. That's what they're there for, is to help manage that. The other thing, and I rely heavily on this, is just use a lot of the web resources. If you go to the Google homepage or the Microsoft site, they have phenomenal, very professionally prepared tutorials there that teach you all the stuff I just showed you. That's actually how I learned it. YouTube, of course, just go Google stuff, how to use my, my email to manage my day. And it's going to pop up a whole bunch of things and find the one for your email provider. Most of you are probably using Gmail if half of the planet is, And then see technology as your friend. Again, when you open up your email and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to do this, then you got to get something to help you do that. And technology usually is our friend. The other thing is always be flexible. I know we say, go add this to your to-do list and go add this to your calendar and make this a snooze. But do your best to do your best, and that's all you can do. And then when that moment arrives, if you have to punt some stuff a little more, or you have to sort of delay some things, then you can make smarter decisions because you're not just fumbling around trying to juggle anymore. Now everything is organized and you can figure out what to shift and et cetera in your schedule, because it's all connected into your calendar and these other tools like the snooze menu or folders that are created, where you can now go into a folder that were filtered, all the filtered content is in there. Maybe the content's the name of a course you're taking in 851. Okay, let's go and put in 851. And anytime the in 851 comes in my email, it gets jumped over. I'm taking that course now, right? Makes it easier. You got to use this stuff consistently too, so that it's a habit. It's something that you do automatically, and these are, for me, used that way. I don't know how I would be able to be successful without it. And then, of course, reward your system. There are times in my calendar where I'll say, go and it's doing something that I want to go do that is fun, because that whole week I've accomplished all the tasks that I've been using in my email. I've met all the things in my calendar. I've gone into all the filtered folders that I've created, and I'm all caught up. Okay, I've used the tools to be successful. Let's celebrate a little bit. Go out and have some fun, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's important to do that. That's how you make it a habit, is by enjoying the experience as you do it. And then, of course, really the most important thing is to reach out. Remember, we said, do you ever ask travelers along the way? Reach out. Your chair and your mentor are tremendously helpful as you get to the dissertation and project courses. All of your faculty members throughout the program can be helpful to you, deans, your academic advisors. If you're having any struggles going through your doctoral journey, it's not easy, but I do want to reassure all of y'all that you're making the right decision. Do not give up, no matter how hard you might think things are, because something like 3,000 or 4,000 people a year get their doctorate. So if 3,000 or 4,000 people a year can get their doctorate, you can. They're no different than you. What they're different in is that they're very organized. They use things like this to manage the chaos of what milestone is due next, and when do I need to submit my IRB application, and when's that deadline for my chair, and when do I have to submit things in this in 851. That's where they get lost. They get lost in the juggle. And besides the stuff I just mentioned, you also have family, you have, loved ones and friends, and you have your work, you have other personal enjoyments, that you need to participate in. And if you don't somehow put things into order, then it's very hard to be successful, and you'll eventually reach a point where you're frustrated. And unfortunately, sadly, one of the things that people give up when they get frustrated and stretched too thin because they're overwhelmed and they're not organizing their day and using resources is they give up their schooling. And you really can't ever do that. I'm telling you, the most significant, the most important, the biggest life change that ever occurred to me was the day I earned my doctorate. You will have doors open for you that nobody else will ever have. Your lifetime income will be 2 or 3 times larger than if you had not done that. So I know it's frustrating. I know it's expensive. I know it sometimes feels like you're on a treadmill making no progress, but you cannot give up. You have to hang on and stay in there and ask for help and get help and use tools like this. So I wish all of you success. Here's a couple of examples of just how I, use some of these resources. Again, instead of saying a quick overview of Gmail features, if you use Outlook, go search in Google and YouTube for a quick overview of Outlook features or an Outlook calendar tutorial, right? Just substitute whatever email feature you do use system into that search term there and go find a video that teaches you how to do it, and then just start doing it. Okay, good luck to all of y'all. Take care, and we'll see you around. Hopefully you'll come to the next doctoral presentation 1 month from today. Good luck. Bye-bye.